Hi everyone, it's Lickety Prankard doing a one for McDuffer, and that's the last Al Chest Breach impression that I'm going to do today. I've been getting some requests to do another video. Um, my first video was the white blood cell presentation, which got some. It got a lot of views because of, I guess, my facial reactions, and that comes from my sense of humor. I've never done stand-up comedy, but when I'm on the phone with my friends, sometimes I will talk in a stand-up comedic like manner, and I'll make people laugh. And don't mind the shadow, if you will. But it brings me to one of my points: making people laugh, even if it's, you're utilizing your sense of humor, or just practicing your stand-up comedy. Sorry about that. But it's the title of this video should be the prerequisites for a happy death. Happy death. That sounds questionable as it is, but we as humans look for a happy life, and we even question within ourselves, what is the meaning of life? And like Irion, one line in one of their songs, what is the meaning of life? It's to give life meaning. But what of death? How do we as humans give death meaning? And before we think about that, we have to think about the meaning of life. And I said to give life meaning. An ecologist would say meaning of life is to reproduce, metabolize, and improve our reproductive fitness. And I think as a sentient human race that we can give more meaning to life than just reproducing and metabolizing a healthy diet. I mean, if our meaning was reproducing, we would all be just hedonistic slobs. We wouldn't have an economy. There wouldn't be monogamous relationships. And I like that. I like order. I don't like anarchy. Well, conservative anarchy, where people can decide they can do what they want without any repercussions. There's no set morality in that. I believe there was a short fiction, Those Who Leave the Omertas, I believe. And it was, if you study politics and sociology, this would be a English 112 assignment, where you analyze the story Those Who Leave the Omertas. Omertas might be wrong. Those who leave some sort of town, but the town was based on Um, it sounded like liberal anarchy. I mean, which eventually leads to a orderly tribe without regulation. And basically, these people would go about on their desires, on what they wanted to do, and it wasn't about hurting people. It wasn't about destroying buildings, destroying cars, robbing people, robbing businesses, setting cars on fire, like we we've seen on some videos about some cities, but that's besides the point. It was about people who were living happily under tribal rules, but in order to do so, their angst against order was that they would take it out on a chained boy. That might not be right. I don't know. It was a little boy in a basement, and this tribe set this rule that occasionally you had to go in this basement and abuse this kid. This kid is chained, he's malnourished, and for some reason, these people of this civilization had to, I guess, take out their anger on him. I guess anger against order or something. And the analysis I did on this story was that since they were liberal anarchy, resulting in a tribal civilization, was that if they had any sort of regulation, that they would fall apart. Because the liberal anarchy wouldn't work. But anyway, back to my primary topic. Prerequisites for a happy death. How do we give meaning to death? Well, first we have to give meaning to life. To give death meaning, we have to give meaning to life. And how do we give meaning to life? We have to decide for ourselves. That's the meaning of life. Like I said before, to give life meaning. But that's a quote from Irion. That's not my quote. We have to give life meaning. And what does that mean? It's much deeper than hedonism. It has a lot to do with how we perceive things, how we analyze things, what perspectives we come up with. It's different for everyone human, as an ecologist might say. It's different for each human. Each human is different. Okay. One human can follow American culture the way they want, and they see that they see that as the meaning of life. There's no real definition to American culture. In America, you have freedom of culture, freedom to choose. You could be of that one culture where all you want to do is have sex, work to pay bills, and eventually marry when you're 26, because maybe your parents expected, and it's American culture to marry. Or you could follow the culture of another person. Your culture could be, I'm a Tea Partyist. I love and culture. I love Bill O'Reilly. I love the Tea Party. I love the conservatives. I love to be that culture. I love hating on people who leech off the government. That's one subculture you can follow. You make your own culture. I guess culture is a variable in politics. Like the example I gave before. My culture. It's not really individualism. It's not Marxism. I can't really define American culture because we have freedom of culture. Culture ties into our perspectives and how we can develop a perspective on the meaning of life. My best friend asked me what the meaning of life was. And in the end, my analysis on the meaning of life ended up with perspectives versus analysis. That's our meaning for life, is perspectives and analysis combined. You may see it as the same thing, but we have to analyze to develop these perspectives. And as hard as it seems, sociological principles, they're a big variable in our perspective. Like I said before, every human is different. You can't define the meaning of life because it's different within every person, because it depends on their perspectives. I'm overusing that word, but it's necessary. You could have a group of people. My perspective on the meaning of life is to reproduce and continue my generation. And another group could be, why reproduce when I could progress as a person? When I can do as much as I can, learn as much as I can. Then they fall in love. The oxytocin takes over. They find a new purpose of life. But all those groups of people, they find a meaning in death. So my prerequisites for death. My two biggest prerequisites. One, make people laugh, make people feel joy. Two, inspire someone. And I've covered the first one, making people laugh. It takes a very complex sense of humor to do this. I mean, not so complex. It depends on the person. And I enjoy stand-up comedy. I mean, I like Patton Oswalt the most. I like Chris Rock. A little racist. I like Dave Chappelle. Moderately racist, but still funny. I like Eddie Griffin. He makes sense on, social aspects. There's a lot of stand-up comedy I like. I've even done stand-up comedy, but only for my friends. And I've knocked out prerequisite number one. I've made people laugh. And I am very content in knowing that I have made people laugh almost to tears, because telling my stories, it was like a stand-up comedy to them. And that makes me so happy, because I've knocked out prerequisite 1. Prerequisite 2, I have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing if I've inspired anyone. Because people who I've inspired, they haven't told me. There isn't one letter, not even a phone call, nothing. Not even, a Facebook message, a Twitter message. Sounds depressing. But it's really hard to depress me, because I know somewhere I've at least inspired someone. But as part of our adaptive human nature, not our primitive human nature, but our adaptive human nature, that we have to have someone tell us that we've done something, that we have to have someone's approval. Whether casual or professional, among friends, we ask them, did I do this correctly? Did I do it right? Did I make you laugh? Did I spark an idea? I hope at least in my public speaking class that, hopefully I inspired someone. And I guess giving meaning to life gives meaning to death. Sure, when you die, people get sad, but that's part of life. Think about the realist ecologist who would say, that person died, and I never knew that person. That's part of life. Though on our level, as a human being, it doesn't have to be someone we don't know who dies. It could be Joe Schmo. We see him get stabbed on Alley 34. We feel a sadness within ourselves. Why did he have to die? By something so chaotic? But the next time we see something like that, we can decide for ourselves. You know, I can give my life meaning, so my death has meaning. I can make people laugh. I can inspire people. I can help people. That's what you should say. Thanks for listening.